From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team. Dominating with Dawson.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
So, Miss Vicky.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when we were watching those WRL events and some of those grid life events where you used to see the in-car video and it had like the cameras seeing front and back, but it also could see all the telemetry and everything that was going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the ones that we liked were taken by the Sentinel system. Remember James came on our podcast earlier?
Right.
You know, we have no excuse since he lent us one for trial and demonstration purposes. We should actually probably put that in one of our cars. Maybe two.
I really think we should.
I think we should.
I know.
Because then we'd look like the immature endurance racing team that we are. Oh, wait, I mispronounced that, didn't I? Sorry, my bad. We could
So what does the
have,
Sentinel system do?
we could have 3 cameras with picture-in-picture. We could have, if we ever get the AIM system to work, open invitation to anybody from AIM to come on and give us a little bit of love. We need some help. And then we could have all our telemetry on there. And then we can have it streamed live into the paddock or around the world to our millions of fans. We're apparently very popular in Kenya right now. Don't know why, but that's fine. And it can integrate all the available race statistics from like Race Hero and everything. So we could actually see how we're doing on video. We wouldn't even have to carry around our phone anymore. Live.
I love it.
Ben Dawson, we've had a question from one of the hosts on this podcast, and they were wondering what we were talking about when we started talking about pace laps and reference laps.
Bill, I think you had the same question for more than one of the hosts on this podcast, unless I'm counted as a guest. So let's talk about it.
Okay. So the intent of the question was the use of pace laps and reference laps. Reference laps to me means somebody in the same car or similar car goes out, a better driver, and that's kind of a reference lap. Like, hey, they went 67 through this turn. I'm only doing 62, right?
Right. Okay, a benchmark.
Yeah, benchmark. Like like if Tom O'Gorman went out in our car and said, okay, this car can do a 153. We're doing a 220. Yeah. Obviously, we're not Tom O'Gorman, but
Right. Yeah. The same thing used to happen when I first started doing track events, maybe like almost 15 years ago. People would have Mike Skeen, a pro racer now, Mike Skeen. They were like, hey, Skeen drove my car and did a so-and-so. And at the time, my ego was so big, but for no reason. I was like, why would you want to have somebody way faster come drive your car just to show you how slow you are? But it turned out he was doing reference laps for people in all kinds of cars when I was, just doing DEs and stuff. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's a good idea.
And then pace laps, to me, that's a little different. That's when we're at a race, sometimes when I have time and I'm kind of managing the team, I'll go out there with my phone and our Apex Pro app open, and I'll be monitoring the cars at the significant or the important turns, figuring out what everybody's doing, either as a min speed or a max speed. And then the next driver will go out there and I'll know, like, if Vicky was doing a 62 and somebody else is out there doing a 55, hey, you could go just a little more on there and talk to them over the radio and give them like live feedback. And if they're stuck in traffic and I can't see the whole entire track from where I'm at, but if they're stuck in traffic, it'll be like, no, they can ignore me, but otherwise they'll know, hey, there's a little bit more in our car today that we could get a little bit more pace out of. Obviously, I don't talk to them the entire day, especially if it's Vicky, because she doesn't listen to me anyway. But
Wow.
it's like the radio is not working. I'm like, no, it's me talking. She's like, what? So, and then somebody else talks, and she's like, oh, the radio's back. But anyway, that's just part of the fun of racing with us. So I was wondering if you thought that this as a concept would be useful, and how best to use them, and perhaps ways that we could use them better ourselves. Because, my way is not the best way. It's a good way, I think.
Wow. Well, first of all, Vicky, were either of those explanations the answer you were expecting, or what you thought this was going to be?
I think it's kind of simple.
Well, I thought we were talking about. I wasn't sure. I thought a reference lap was like maybe a recon lap before a race, so you ride around, see where the track is going. And I thought a pace lap was literally the pace laps you ride around before the green flag drops.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the same thing.
Listen, don't let my questions get in the way of the answer I want.
I was totally off. But I think that the concepts that you're talking about when you use those terms of getting a benchmark for what your car can do with a really hot shit driver is important, because it gives you sort of an ideal for you and your whole team to sort of live up to. Like, hey, well, we know this car can do so and so, so we need to figure out and find the speed to get there. I think that's a great idea.
And you don't have to get all the way there. You just can get a little bit,
No, but with like we often talk about when we're talking about driving technique, where I'm saying you're either accelerating or you're braking. There should never be anything in between. Well, that sounds pretty draconian and ironclad and unrealistic. And very fast drivers are pretty much doing that, but there's a lot of in between there. So it's an ideal that I'm always saying, hey, we're striving toward this ideal of always either being accelerating or braking, nothing in between. One of the two things is always happening. And turning is also happening while one of those two things is also happening. So all these things have to happen at the same time, and there's an ideal way to do it. And what you learn when you get a benchmark from somebody fast driving their car is, okay, here's a pretty solid ideal of what we can all be shooting for if you're a team of drivers who aren't as fast as the person who set your benchmark. So I think that's important. I don't think a lot of people do it, but just like taking the opportunity to ride with faster drivers and see like, oh crap, I can do that in this corner. It's all about enabling you and showing you what your car can get away with. We've talked about having confidence in the car before and trusting that the tires are going to let me go through here at 90 miles an hour when it feels like I could probably only do 70. You know what I mean? So I think having a reference and benchmark it is very important. And I'm certain that not enough teams do it, because it's something that we've never done, because of course we've got the fastest driver in the world on our team, so we don't have to do that. But I kid. It's something we should have done a long time ago with our cars too, is let somebody else get in there and drive it too.
Yeah. Even if one thing I've noticed is, even if, let's say Ben's on the team and I don't know, John, just picking a name, and you guys are equivalent time. One,
what can we learn there? Yeah,
that'll drive Ben absolutely bonkers. But two, let's just go with it. You probably have different areas of the track where Ben can get perhaps a significant amount of time ahead of that person, and vice versa. It just adds up to the same.
Right. So you're saying we could combine our skills and strengths to be probably even maybe faster?
Super Ben.
Wow, like a Megatron of speed.
That's right. We could be like a transformer. The one where the head and the body and the legs and the arms gets all together. It could be a Ben. What was that guy's name? Ben Transformer? I don't know. Whatever. Well, that was a terrible intro.
I'm not going to admit to knowing any of the stuff about Transformers. Sorry.
Yes, you do, Ben. You know you do. Miss Audra, does this make any sense to you? Is this useful?
Yes, it is.
Are we going to do this in New Hampshire?
Yes, we should.
Perhaps with your Apex Pro?
That I need to learn how to use?
Which I am
Oh, it's so handy.
It is. It actually is.
I'm sure Bill will get you all tuned up on that thing if you need any help.
That is not a problem.
That's the plan, yeah.
That is not a problem.
That idea, this second concept you bring up, which I think you guys are talking about, what's capable, finding out what the car can do at this spot, this spot, and this spot, and communicating it across the whole team, even live while they're on the track, is another good idea. So there's the the one idea of setting the concrete reference for what your car can do at this place. The other thing of sort of, Bill, I'm not going to try to use this in a bad way, but you can kind of micromanage or, tell, this corner you can do this corner you can do this. And we're often doing a way more informal version of that when we go race, where it's like, hey, where are you shifting? Where are you shifting here? How about going down a turn 8? Are you breaking at the 3 or the 2.5? I mean, we talk about kind of the micro level stuff, like, oh, you know what? I can get away with only having a downshift to 4th instead of going to 3rd, and I can carry a lot more speed, turning here instead of here. Sort of talking about angles of attack, where you're ending up on the outside of the corner. So we do a homeboy version of what you guys are talking about doing, a very smart version of with your what's it called? Garmin?
Apex Pro.
Apex Pro. So yeah, I think taking a pretty organized approach and enabling the team, saying, hey, Alan, guess what? I saw you were going through there, only carrying 180 miles an hour of speed, but I went through there at 190 because I turned a little bit early. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you've got that teammates who are all willing to collaborate and open to input. Not everybody is, so it's also important to kind of feel out. You may tell somebody, oh yeah, so yeah, I've got a perfect example of this. There's a guy out on the West Coast in Lemons racing. This is almost 10 years ago, but I got a chance to go race with him. It was my first time getting to race an E30, which Audra just acquired. Baby, your first E30, is that right? So Audra just got her first E30, but this one was covered in tartan fabric because this guy was Scottish, and it had a pair of truck nuts, blue truck nuts hanging off the back, and it was beat to crap. But anyway, we had a good time, but the guy was going to come let me race with them, and he was like, I charge this guy who flies up from LA, I charge him this much. You can pay that much minus this because you're going to help us. He knew I was quick, and he's like, you're going to help us because you're going to tell us, the quick way to get around Thunderhill in my car. And so as we're kind of doing a little debrief before the race, like I'm shifting here, blah, blah, blah. This guy who flew up from LA, somebody from the entertainment industry, big, tall dude, crazy hot girlfriend, wouldn't pay attention to anything, acted like his shit didn't stink, wouldn't listen to anything I had to say. And
Ben,
so he was going to take her.
I'm right here.
He was going to take the first stint, and then he was going to fly back to LA because he was important and he did not be there for the whole race. So he takes the first stint and does mid 220s all day out there in his time. And then I go out there right after him or something like that, where he's still watching race monitor from the airport. And I'm out there doing something in the teens. And he texts to the guy who owns the car from the airport. He's like, I guess I should have listened to that guy. He's almost 10 seconds a lap faster than me. And it was just where we were trying to do the homeboy version of, all right, grab 4th here, going into turn 1, everybody's braking too hard. You only need to, all this little detail that can add up to several seconds quicker on the track. This guy was just like, this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm going to not pay attention. And it could have helped him a lot. He was like, from the airport, he's like, damn, I should have listened to that guy.
So I've got 2 transitions. One I could go with when I think homeboy, I talk about Vicky, or 2, I could go with the, so as the person who doesn't listen to me about what to do at the track, Miss Vicky, what do you think about, reference labs? Which way did you like better? Because I'm just going in the tub tonight. There's nothing I can do about it. It's already done.
Reference labs. I mean, I listen to you.
You are so full of it. You have specifically requested that I not be on the radio when you're in the car.
Yeah, could you please stop talking? Oh my god.
Yes. Could you?
Okay. Well.
And then two sessions later, somebody else says the exact same thing, and she's like, "That's a great idea."
Okay, so you gotta understand that the thing is with Bill is that he has a very fast processor, and
he does.
And he is always thinking and is very fast. I mean, the guy listens to his podcasts on 2X, which is great.
Oh, that tells me so much right there. Wow,
right.
I don't speed them up at all.
I found a new app that's 3X.
This is how Bill
it's fantastic.
Thinks constantly.
Oh.
So when he's on the radio, he's just at you. And to me, I have a slower processor. Okay, it takes me a few minutes to diagnose something, so I would rather know my information before I get there, if that makes any sense. There's some people going, this is coming, this is what's happening, or I just need a moment when Bill is very much in the moment, and I can't process that fast. So
that makes sense. I it has to do with your sort of your learning and communication style. A lot of times when I'm instructing at the track, I've had a guy. Yeah, I'm pretty animated in the car, and I get excited when people are going fast. I use my hands more than my voice, like as far as like get on the gas, slow down. And I had this
Yeah.
one guy go. This one guy was like a nervous wreck, and then like halfway through Saturday, he's like, I can't have you putting your hands in my field of vision. It's driving me crazy. You're talking too much about all this stuff. And I was like, whoa,
yeah, it's a
I'm
lot.
sorry. And I had to adjust what I was giving this guy to make him more comfortable. And it could be the same thing for communicating information to a racer who's in the car. For me, if somebody like I always get in the car, I'm like, talk my ear off, talk to me the whole time, just because I just want a buddy out there, and nobody ever does. Everybody forgets to talk to me. I get all lonely, but not everybody wants that. But if somebody could hammer me with the information like, hey, you just went through there at 67 and usually you're doing 75, I would be like, oh really? Let me check it out.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you, Ben. You come with me.
Bill is a very at least with me. I don't know how I honestly think that Bill reacts differently with me than he would with everybody else because we've been married for so long.
I'm not your couples counselor, so I can't help with that. But
no. So
next time on Dominated with Dawson, no.
But honestly, I think with Bill that if he would just take it down a pace and just kind of be a little bit more chill and not so chatty and just give straight information without it being repeated constantly in the moment, I think we would work. Just chill.
Okay.
That is 100% a lie.
And Bill, when you hear her saying that, what are you hearing her say? First of all, what are you hearing her say? And
what am I hearing her say?
About that?
I'm hearing her say, if he
see, and that's why I can't have him on the radio. And that's why I can't have him on the radio.
but no, Bill's a good team captain. He's a great
leader team captain.
And I'm sure, I don't know if you have had this explicit conversation before we just aired your dirty laundry in front of everybody. Have you had this talk before?
Yes, we have.
Really?
Yes.
No.
We've done it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But also it sounds like, Bill, it could be time for you to perhaps adapt to what she's asking for. If she's asking for a different thing that you've been delivering over and over and over again, perhaps it's time to take some advice. For instance, in my own therapy life, you could say that my therapist frequently tells me, hey, slow down. I can't understand what you're saying because you're going blah, 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 talking so much. So I have to remember to go, hey, maybe I can slow it the hell down and be heard. So, maybe an adjustment to your approach, Bill, would yield better lap times and more domestic bliss. Think about that.
I believe I have been outlawed from ever right seating with Vicky ever again. I believe that was the last.
It happened once.
It is what it is. That's past behavior. Let's move on into future behavior and success.
The proclamation has been made, and not any guidance given further than that. But that's fine.
There we go.
Audra, save me.
And this.
You were an instructor once with me, Bill. I have very little frame of reference.
Wow, so diplomatic, extremely diplomatic. Congratulations.
Wow. Talk about like the life preserver filled with lead. There you go. Yeah. Thanks, Audra.
And this has been an episode of Racing Therapy Instruction from Ben Dawson, Bill Fisher.
Check to see if your insurance will cover a future episode. Oh, I'm so much into tub tonight. Okay.
No, but
seriously, I think that if Bill would just kind of slow down and if Bill could deliver what I need from him, that he would be a great instructor.
Oh, I can deliver for you, baby.
Yeah. And the only reference that I have 2 points. We've discussed this before. I did have two, not Bill, but I had two instructors in one weekend. One was amazing. He was chill. He was laid back. He kind of let me do the laps and said, okay, go into this one, try this, go into this one and try this, and he kind of felt as things were going. And as he was more preemptive. And then if he needed to be in the moment, he would be, but he was more preemptive. And then my sister had an instructor who wasn't in the moment. And
he was reactive. Is that what he would do? Like, oh, you screwed that up.
Well, that is post. Right. That is post instructing. No, but she had an instructor who was a very in the moment instructor, and she could not process fast enough to take on the instruction. So we end up flipping. And I had to agree with her that one instructor stressed me out. And that's when I learned the differences of the styles.
But
So
why
it
did
was
your
what,
instructor fire? Why did your instructor fire you? What did you do? Like, why did you have to switch? You did something bad,
oh,
or
because my sister couldn't manage it.
I'm just
So,
kidding. I'm kidding.
so yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think it was their second or third track day.
yeah. So,
That happens, but it brings up an important point that I don't think a lot of people realize or grasp. Hopefully, they would tell you this in a driver's meeting. But if you're at a DE event and you're not gelling with your instructor and you feel like you have irreconcilable differences, they have extra instructors or the leeway to switch you around. Somebody else can get in the car with you at that
mhm,
DE event. If you're not getting it done with your instructor, it doesn't have to be a personal thing. I don't think I'm maybe I have been fired as an instructor before.
mhm,
I can't think of a time, but if I did, it wouldn't hurt my feelings. I'd be like, I'll just go take this guy's student. Like, your instructor's
yeah,
not gonna get beat up over it if you say like, hey, I just can't accept what this guy's giving me, or I don't feel safe. Whatever the reason is, it's always okay to fire your instructor. Fire your
mhm,
instructor. You might get one who's equally crappy, but if you feel like it's irreconcilable and you can't handle it,
yeah,
just ask for a different instructor. And we're mostly a racing people podcast, but I hope that the people out here who are listening and racing are also doing tons of DE events to get their driving better. So hopefully that's relevant advice. But same thing with your therapist. While we're still in therapy, fire your therapist and find another one if it's not working.
yeah,
Your
And if you're
instructor
feeling messed
probably
up, go to
feels the
therapy.
same. So don't feel
Yeah,
bad.
probably. It's probably not going to be a surprise to your instructor if you fire him too, if it's been getting that bad.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't happen all the time, but you need to know as a participant and a customer who pay a crap ton of money, you don't have to suffer with a bad instructor necessarily.
yeah.
And sometimes it's just personality.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just, I was not aware of the different styles.
Yeah, they're
If you
I mean,
really
a good-
think on it.
a good instructor. You'll never know what their style was because a good instructor is somebody who just adapts to whatever they figure out that you need. So
Mhm,
a good instructor has a bunch of different styles.
mhm.
All right. So future dominating with Dawson, we beat on Bill's sport. No, I'm just kidding.
We speed bag Bill's nuts on the next episode. Stay
That's
tuned.
right. If you have an idea on how to do that, GarageHeroesInTraining@gmail.com seems to be the place.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Protonmail.net. Yep.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, everybody.